Alright, in this video we're going to be going over the word checker free response question. And you can see the description and stuff here in the PDF. Hopefully you found it in the file. But we're going to go over part A here. So first thing is to realize you have access to a private array list, word list. And then for part A you have to see if it makes a word chain. And like honestly, when I read this description, I was like, what on earth is this meaning? But basically, if you look at the example, it's a little more clear. So I pulled the example in here, and basically the idea of this is you have to loop through the array list and check to see if each previous word is a substring in the next word. So like this one is returning true because if you look, you have an right here. So this is a substring in here. And then band is a substring of band, right? Band is found in band. And then in this last word here, it has band in it. So each time the previous one is a substring in the current one is sort of the idea, right? And versus the second one is not. It starts off, okay, here's a substring. T is found there. And then TOO is found in this one. So it's still working. But then the last one fails because stool is not a substring in tools. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. And I think this last example, the good way of doing this is like, you've got to loop through, and if it ever fails once, you return false. Okay, and you only return true after you've gone all the way through and checked every single pair of words. Okay, so like, the idea is it can return false at any point. Like right away, if it wasn't a substring, in spot 1, if spot 0 wasn't a substring, then right away it fails, and you can return false. Okay, so you only return true at the very end. The other thing you'll see here is I'm going to loop I. I want to start I at 1 instead of its normal spot of 0, and then just take the word at I minus 1, get the word there, and then check if the that one, so it would be, the way I'm going to type it in my code is I'm going to check to see if in the current word, I'm going to call dot index, maybe you can do contains. Maybe I'll do that one. I'm going to do like, does the current word dot contains the previous? Where in this case, current would be in spot I and previous would be in spot I minus 1. And you could also do dot substring, dot index of greater than or equal to 0. That would tell you if it's in there or not too, but I'm just going to use the dot contains one. So anyways, let's take a look at the code here. So basically, I'm going to loop through this word list. So you can't do an enhanced for loop because you got to check. You actually got to start at spot spot 1 instead of spot 0. But otherwise, it's the same here. Word list dot size plus I. Okay, and then I'm going to get the ith and the I minus 1 word. So I'm going to do a string called the current word, which is the ith one. That's the one. So I'm going to call get I. That gets the one, the ith one. And then I'm going to do the previous word, which would be word list dot get I minus 1. So that's going back 1 in the list. And then I need to just check if the current word dot contains the previous word. Okay, and if it does, I want to keep looping. And if it doesn't, then I want to return false. So really, the if part would be blank here. If it contains, I just want to keep going. So I think I'm going to change this to if it doesn't contain, then return false because it's not a substring. And then we only return true again once the loop is done, because then we've checked every pair of words all the way to the end, and it never returned false. It never found one where it wasn't a substring. So then at the end there we can finally return true. Okay, it's really tempting. I think kids want to put else, like return false right here, but that's not the right approach because if you do that, else return true here, that's the wrong approach because you're only going to check the first pair of words and you need to check all of them. They all have to the current one has to contain the previous one for all of them. So you can't return true until the loop is done. All right, that's it for part A. Thanks for watching.